Welcome back to Exo Protein Cookie Gaming. This is a multiple part series where I upload videos of all of the killers and all of the survivors of this Dead by Daylight game. I also go live multiple times a week on Twitch. You can add me there. My name on Twitch is Exo Protein Cookie. I main this game Dead by Daylight, and I also main League of Legends, but I play all types of games. So this specific video is of the killer called the Unknown. As you can see, he's extremely creepy. He has some extremely creepy customizations on the store too, where I'll show you later in a little bit. Alright, so his first ability, or his only ability, is called UVX. You have to press the power button to charge the UVX. Once ready, press the attack button to launch the UVX, a bouncing projectile which creates a blast area upon impact. Survivors become hindered by 6% if touched by UVX while airborne, and survivors touching the blast area become weakened. Weakened survivors lose health states if touched by blast areas. Survivors lose weakened by successfully staring down the unknown. His other special ability is called hallucinations. The unknown will intermittently create up to 4 hallucinations. Hallucinations cannot be created while charging UVX, performing interactions or in proximity to map objects like hooks. Whenever survivors are touched by blast areas or otherwise become weakened, the next hallucination spawn time decreases by 10 seconds. The unknown can teleport to hallucinations, leaving behind a temporary decoy, and survivors can remove hallucinations from the trial with the dispel ability. Weakened survivors take longer to dispel. If dispel is not completed, survivors become weakened and trigger the killer instinct. So what this is saying is, and I've gone against him as a survivor in game multiple times, so he can spawn it's like clones of him. These are what the hallucinations are. And it's just telling you about them and what the survivors need to do. His first perk is called Unbound. This perk activates for 30 seconds after a survivor becomes injured by any means. After vaulting a window, you gain 7% haste for 10 seconds, and then it just tells you that haste is increasing killer movement speed. The second one is called Unforeseen. When you perform the damage action on a generator, your terror radius transfers to the generator for 30 seconds, and its radius is set to 32 meters. You gain Undetectable for that duration. And then it says the perk goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. Undetectable hides the killer's aura, terror radius, and red stain. Third and last one is called Undone. When a survivor misses a healing or repair skill check, gain 3 tokens up to 30. When you perform the damage action on a generator, if you have any tokens, consume all of them. For each token consumed, the generator loses 1% total progress and then becomes blocked for 1 second. Then, once the generator is unblocked, it starts regressing. This perk goes on a cooldown for 60 seconds. All of them are not really bad perks to use as a killer. You could definitely try them. Yeah, they're not bad, none of them. All right. So let's move on to his bio. Olivia's master's thesis was on urban legends and their origins. She believed they shared similarities with traditional folklore and picked one to illustrate her point. The unknown was believed to be a mysterious evil so heinous that investigating it almost immediately invited death. At least that was how the story went, and there were many stories. One story was of a woman in Greenville who disappeared without a trace on stage in front of a room full of witnesses. Her friend disappeared weeks later while trying to investigate what had happened. The police were stumped. They had no clues or leads, and that mystery created the perfect storm for amplifying and spreading an urban legend. Instead of going back home for spring break, Olivia headed to Greenville to investigate. She drove to the second cheapest motel in town and began to set up in a small room that smelled of cigarette smoke, mold, and booze. She turned one wall into a kind of evidence board. She taped up articles and various theories on similar disappearances attributed to the unknown throughout the country. She made connections with red string and yellow thumbtacks. Anyone walking into the motel room would think she had lost her mind. There are many theories as to the unknown's origin. Some said it was a malevolent entity conjured long ago by an ancient cult. Others believed it to be an alien that escaped from Area 51. Legend was it thrived in darkness and stole the voices of those it consumed so as to lure others in their doom. The first newspaper articles Olivia found referenced a disappearance at a seance held in the 1800s. In the late 1950s, several college students mysteriously disappeared from a movie theater. Witnesses saw them go inside. Some remembered seeing them in their seats. But when the lights came up, they were gone. No one saw them leave. No trace of them were ever found. A projectionist claimed to have heard voices in the empty darkness of the theater later that night. But when he turned on the lights, no one was there. Then, in the 1960s, a group of teens disappeared while exploring an abandoned hospital believed to be haunted. Stories and speculation arose to explain these mystifying disappearances. Some talked about a top-secret government research program run by the Office of Strategic Services in the 1950s, called Project Apple Pie. Interesting. Mind control experiments using hallucinogenic drugs. Most of the records were destroyed in the 70s, but witnesses claim that experiments were performed on unsuspecting civilians in various settings and locations throughout the country, including movie theaters, hospitals, and universities. Many believe these unethical experiments opened doorways to other dimensions, which allowed evil things to enter the world. Oh, where the hell did I go? Okay. Olivia wrote observations to pin her evidence board. The unknown dwells in darkness and can mimic its victims. Was it an evil entity? Was it an extraterrestrial? A failed government experiment? Or just a garden variety serial killer allergic to publicity? She wanted to prove the unknown was nothing more than modern day folklore. And that investigation led here to this night, to this place, to the shabby motel room. Yet she couldn't help but notice that the disappearances in Greenville included one detail the other stories didn't: the fog. And she half remembered another urban legend with a thick, unnatural fog that somehow made people disappear. Maybe, she mused, the Greenville disappearances didn't relate to the unknown, but some other darkness. For a moment, Olivia wondered what would happen if one urban legend encountered another. She laughed at the idea and tempted fate by sketching a picture of what she thought the unknown might look like. Then she pinned the sketch right in the middle of her evidence board, laughed nervously, and waited to be consumed by the unknown for having tried to define it. Anxiously, she stared at the windows and front door for seconds that turned to minutes and minutes that turned to hours. But nothing happened. Now it was after 2 a.m. and Olivia was exhausted as she examined the articles and sipped cold coffee. So when she first heard the whisper, she wondered if she had imagined it. Olivia? It seemed to come from the bathroom. Help. The lights in the room flickered. Who's there? Olivia stared with wide eyes at the closed door of the bathroom. Her mind was playing tricks on her, or her friends had shown up to prank her. Ariella, Sean, stop messing around. The lights continued to flicker as she edged closer to the bathroom. Fear spread in long waves throughout her, and a terrible realization bloomed within her that the unknown was behind the bathroom door, was preparing to make her pay for her hubris. Something began to whisper her name again, but then the voice rose, cracked, and distorted in sudden panic, as if the brooding creature behind the door were under attack. An unknown horror filled Olivia's heart and left room for nothing else. She breathed deeply as cold sweat beaded on her forehead. She placed her hand on the doorknob. The lights turned off, but she could still hear the strangely inhumane cries. Then the lights turned back on, and she could see a strange black fog seeping through the bottom of the door. Hesitantly, Olivia creaked the door open to see a bulky shape with frenzied tentacles being pulled into a thick mass of fog, vanishing slowly into the darkness like a dying shadow. The shrieking stopped suddenly. Neighbors banged on the wall to turn down the TV, and Olivia stared intently at the black abyss that yawned before her. She wasn't sure what to do. Part of her wanted to run, but the other part wanted to know more. And as she considered what to do next, dozens of voices began to call out to her with promises of the unknown and the impossible and the unearthly things beyond human experience. Okay, let's go to the store. This one is called Eyeless Woman. So creepy. Absolutely creepy. I can't. All right, this one is called Real Life Tale. It's a wolf one. Interesting. The unknown blighting. All of the organs are outside of this guy's body, and can you imagine seeing this in? Oh my god, ew. He has 2 feet, or I guess that's his foot, and I don't know. That's so creepy. This is the I saw this one and I can't. They have another one in like an orange. I'll show you. Look here. It's so creepy. The face is so wild. I can't. This is the missing zookeeper. I hate how 1 foot is the total opposite way. It's just, I hate it all. It's so creepy. This is alien invasion. Sorry. Government conspiracy. And these are a little bit of the same, just different colors and patterns, if you so choose to use them. Oh, he's so creepy. I can't. And that's his default clothing. All right, if you like this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to add me on Twitch. My Twitch name is ExoProteinCookie. Thank you for watching.